Nobody warned me about the fear. The heart attack was over. The stents were in. The doctor said I was going to be okay. But every strange feeling in my chest from that point forward has become a battle in my head. Nobody tells you that surviving sometimes can be harder than the event. My heart attack was February 15th, and I was in the hospital for a couple days. And I remember when I got home from the hospital, I had no idea what was coming and what was about to hit me. I had no clue what it was like being a heart attack survivor. I had no idea what to expect, and I definitely didn't have any idea that I was going to struggle more mentally than I've ever struggled in my entire life. And I've not had an easy life. The first night that I was home out of the hospital, I was laying in my bed at night, getting ready to go to sleep. First off, my wife would not leave me alone. She was checking me over and over and over. Every time I would fall asleep, she would wake me up with, "Are you okay?" I was barely able to get a good night's sleep just in general from her worry. But besides that, the internal voice, what was going on inside of me that first night, I remember laying in my bed and looking at the ceiling. And I was just thinking in my head, like, does my chest feel tight right now? Are these stents holding up? Is blood flow restored? How do I know this guy really fixed me? My chest feels tight. Am I dying? Am I dying? How do I know that I'm really okay? And I struggled. I struggled big time that first night out of the hospital. And that continued for the rest of the duration until I got into cardiac rehab. That continued. And the reason is because everything I did after the heart attack, I couldn't pick up my kids right away because of the artery damage that, they had to go in and balloon and stent through my arteries. So I couldn't pick up my kids. So I was doing nothing. I was doing nothing. And so I'm sitting on the couch a lot and just thinking about obviously how lucky I am. A lot of people die from this. Very grateful. But in that moment, I was thinking about, am I guaranteed for this to happen again? Is my life expectancy just automatically down now? I have these two pieces of metal in my heart keeping me going. And it was very scary. It was very scary. That first sensation that I felt in my chest afterwards, and every single one after that has been terrifying. Every single day after the heart attack, I thought that I was going to die again. And it's not a good place to be. It's one of the main reasons also that I'm helping people so much now. It's not a good place to be in that despair, and I was in it. And I remember it got so bad. I came back to work here after 2 weeks of being off. And I started working and doing things again, and I was really not supposed to do too much physically. There's certain things that need my physical touch in order to get done. And I didn't always have people here to help me. I started packing orders and packing pallets and moving boxes, and I got a feeling in my chest a month to the day almost after my heart attack that I got a feeling in my chest. I had pain in my arm and my left arm. It's happening again. And I actually ended up back in the hospital 1 month after. Back in the hospital. Got to get my stents checked. Because the fear of the chest pain, the chest feelings, the sensations going on in my body with the mental difficulties of this created a scenario where I thought I could be having a heart attack again, and I didn't take any chances. I called an ambulance and I went to the hospital, and they scanned everything, checked everything. They actually informed me that my ejection fraction had gone back up from 50 to 60%. So this was a good thing. Turned out to be a good thing, me going back to the hospital, because I found out information that I previously did not have about what was going on inside me. And that was actually the start, coupled with cardiac rehab, of me feeling better. When I had a heart attack, I thought that the hardest part of this was going to be the heart attack. Okay, it was going to be the actual surviving the physical nature of what's going on. But what I was not prepared for was the fact that the heart attack was not the hardest part. Learning how to trust my body again was going to become my greatest challenge in the recovery process from this event. And That's true for me, and it's true for a lot of you that are out there that had a heart attack, because you've commented to me, thousands of people, that you've struggled with the same thing. I had to come to this realization myself, and I'm an ultra marathon runner. I talk about that a lot. I've been very physical with my body. I've brought this body across feats that most humans won't even try. And I say that to let you know that I have entrusted this body with these events and the difficulties of these events, countless times, where I've run 100 miles, a 31-mile race on a mountain in Vermont that I've done 6 times, countless ultra marathons in the heat, and all these different things that I put my body through. I've always trusted this body would get me there, and this body's always gotten me there. So when this body failed me on February 15th, and it let me down, and I say that now, but I'm being very gracious towards my body now, because it didn't let me down. I had a rough day. I had a heart attack. I went through it. I have an issue, and this body held together and is letting me have the opportunity to even have another shot. So we lose trust in our body, but the truth of the matter is that our body held it together and is doing its best. But I lost trust in my body for a little while, and I'm regaining it slowly over time through, I went through cardiac rehab and graduated and started working out, and it's a process. Rebuilding after this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you think you're going to go back to what you were doing right away, I'm getting in the best shape of my life right now. And it's happening slowly, but I know where I'm going. And, this body's going to get me there, and I'm very, very grateful for this body. When I had my heart attack, a big part of my messaging is that I was in great denial for the duration of my event. And it almost killed me. It didn't. I'm very blessed. But one of the things after a heart attack, the fear that you don't know about that's going to come, is this thinking that, like, when you get a feeling in your chest and you kind of feel like it's nothing, but you now don't want to take it lightly because you almost died. Is this it again? Is this am I overreacting? And it's scary, because it's like, if I don't tell somebody and it is something, I'm dead. If I do tell somebody and it's nothing, am I the boy who cried wolf? And these are real thoughts, and these are real emotions and feelings that people have. So it needs to be addressed, because you don't hear people talk about these kinds of things. And I intend to, because I want to bring heart disease to conversation, just like my friend Hannah from the Heart Foundation says all the time, that bringing the conversation and bringing awareness around it and bringing the topic, just bringing the conversation of these different things out there, it can save lives. So this affects not just us, this affects our families. For example, my wife is in a constant state of fear. She called me the other day. I was at work. Early in the morning, I work by myself for hours before anybody else comes in. She called me and I answered, and she was frantic. And she was like, oh my God. She was like relieved to hear my voice. I was like, what? She's like, I thought you were dead at work. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I said, what do you, I said, no, baby, I'm okay. But why? What's going on? She had this feeling, and I just thought you were dead at work. So our family members are affected by this significantly. They have their own version of that fear that they feel in regards to the ones that they love, that this is going to happen again too. She, for the first few weeks, was like up in arms, okay? My son looked at me after this and said, Dad has boo-boo on his heart. My 2-year-old. We didn't tell him to say that. He just was absorbing everything going on and the different scenarios. Daddy's in the hospital, and maybe mom told him back at that point that it has a boo-boo on his heart. But like weeks later, nobody's said boo-boo on heart, and my son comes to me and says, Dad, you have boo-boo on heart? I said, baby, I'm getting better. I'm getting better, boy. It's like an onion you just keep peeling. You don't even realize how many layers there are to this. So while I'm still afraid at times, what I learned from building myself back up slowly is that the fear is not serving me any longer. And I don't know that it ever served me, but it's totally normal and okay to feel it. It's okay to feel it. But for me to sit inside of the fear, it's destructive, and it's not helping my family to heal by seeing me afraid constantly about this. So while I have a healthy respect for the situation and I have a healthy respect for the enemy, the heart attack, and I went through cardiac rehab, I graduated, I progressed out of it, and then I joined the gym at the hospital. And I go there twice a week and I work out hard with weights, breathing good the whole time. And then I run home 2 miles from the gym back to my house. And then every single day besides those workouts, I am walking or running in the morning 2 to 4 miles. And then I am walking at night 2 miles on top of those workouts. So I'm walking every day, running like three to 5 times a week, and then working out with weights twice a week at least. And what's happened, I'm getting stronger again. Not to be that guy, but I had a heart attack. So listen, I'm flexing a little bit. I'm getting stronger again. And that's building my confidence back in my body and my trust in my body. And it's lessening the fear. The fear is not going away, and I don't think that it's going to go away entirely. But what's happening is, by me putting one foot in front of the other, regardless of the fear, because there's days where I am legitimately terrified. And on those days, I still do what needs to be done. And let me tell you something. If you've never done that, if you're the kind of person that when you're afraid, you just don't do it, I get that. We've all been that person. But what I want to tell you is that if you're afraid and you do it anyway, there is a super power behind that. And being a heart attack survivor now almost feels like I'm a superhero, because I constantly have the ability to turn my fear into action and to do these things that to some people, they don't even think they're a big deal, to do these things in spite of the fear. And the growth is exponential. And it's helping me to be able to reach my hand back to you and to say, listen, you could do this too. Because one of the reasons I'm a little less fearful than I'd say a lot of other heart attack survivors is because of all the things that I put my body through before this. And I know that it's always come through. I still have faith in this thing. The doctors, they fixed me. I got God. And I have a whole group of people now that I'm doing my best to lead by example, by getting in the best shape of my life health-wise and mentally, being a great father to my children, and continuing on in this process. And the abundance that's come in the sense of the people that I've helped that are reaching out to me and thanking me is beyond my wildest dreams. So let's remember, recovery, it's not just physical. Recovery is learning how to live again. And now we drop these episodes. This is Rebuilding After Widowmaker, the series, long-form series by me, Mario Ciccarello. And we're dropping these episodes every single Sunday. Next Sunday's episode is going to have to do with the first time that I was allowed to exercise again. And I'm going to go in depth what it's like as a heart attack survivor who was not able to exercise for a little while, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm allowed to exercise again. What is that like mentally? So if you haven't, make sure you subscribe. All right, click that, subscribe, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Thank you for watching.